I'm Jim Angle. I worked in broadcasting from 1981 until 2015. And then retired and started drinking more wine. I covered the White House for various organizations under Ronald Reagan, Bush 41, Clinton, and Bush 43.
Jim Angle made quite an impression from the moment he started at Fox. Before the channel's launch, our chief White House correspondent already had years of experience at CNN, ABC, and NPR. Jim traveled the world covering 2 different presidents for us.
With the president in South America, in Rwanda, Beijing, China, Moscow, Jim Angle, Fox News.
We're going to miss Jim Angle. Good luck, Jim, in retirement. I am told the red wine tastes even better in retirement, so from all of us here, cheers.
Growing up in Texas, my dad drank beer. Dad drank whatever beer was cheapest. Jim, once he moved to Virginia, developed a taste for wine. Now, I'd had some wine in college, but the EPA made them quit selling that wine because they considered it to be toxic.
My brother George is as full of bull as a Christmas turkey and is known for his one-liners. He laughs at himself, he laughs at his own jokes. He's a lot of fun to have around. He doesn't know jack about wine, but I'm trying to teach him. This week on Winemakers Uncorked, we're going to visit 3 wineries in different parts of Texas, each with their own distinctive styles and their own distinctive ownership. First place we're going is Mesa, which is owned by Big Paul Bonarigo, along with his very good-humored and tolerant wife, Meryl, who goes along with some of Paul's antics. He has 3 different vineyards. The one we're visiting is in Bryan, Texas. He has another vineyard over in Fredericksburg and another one in what Texans call the High Plains. Paul is a big personality and makes a lot of different wines.
When I came to Texas in '71, it was liquor and it was cheap beer. This year, Texans will consume about 25 million gallons of wine. We're the 2nd largest consumer of wine in America, only behind California.
In Texas, there are more than 300 wineries. When I tell people that, they're what? Texas?
This is what we grow right here on the estate. It's the only port in the world that's made without the use of spirits. So this is all naturally fermented. This has a chocolate cherry flavor to it. It's about 18.5 alcohol. Tomorrow, in essence, we will pick the equivalent of 5,000 bottles.
At Mesa, they have a big wine club, and everybody in the wine club came to help pick grapes. So you've got singing, you've got dancing, you've got grape crushing, you've got people stepping out of the grape vats onto t-shirts, so their purple stained feet become their memento. Big Paul takes a dim view of those who bring in grapes from California. So he says there's plenty of grapes in Texas, and the places we're going are all places that use only grapes grown in Texas. Now I've got a real treat for George, because we're going outside Llano, Texas, to meet a guy who used to play defensive tackle for the Oakland Raiders in the late 1960s. Alphonse is in his 70s, but he's in great shape, so I wouldn't step out of line if I were you.
Well, you know, when I was playing, they called me the judge.
Why is that?
I was always sitting on the bench.
I had my niece along with me who teaches college, and a friend of hers who is also a professor. My hope was she would help bring her dad along a little bit and maybe open his eyes toward different kinds of wines.
Texas wines are great, and I'm not just saying that because I'm from Texas.
Now, Alphonse owns a vineyard, but not a winery. So he does his winery activities at a place called Pontotoc, which is basically a wide place in the road.
We first met Alphonse Dotson at a couple of old buildings. Looked like they could have been in San Antonio at the Alamo. It looked like I needed to strap on a 6-shooter at this place.
Yeah, it's gonna be a house party like in the late 50s and 60s. Thanks for coming.
Alphonse is the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, you wonder how this guy ever played professional football.
Let me introduce you to the little feisty spice in my life. There's Martha right there. Yes, indeed.
Hi, Martha. I'm George Angle. I'm the younger, better-looking brother.
You'll find that he's completely full of bull, so, you know, your tolerance level may be reached fairly early.
That will be okay.
George and Jim Angle, the brothers. Heckle and Jekyll.
We're going to put him to work today.
I am glad the four of you showed up because part of my crew for bottling wasn't able to make it today. And hell, y'all just fell in at the right damn time.
There are 3 mobile bottling operations in Texas, and they basically back up a truck with a trailer, and in the trailer is an entire bottling operation.
Today we are bottling wine. We're bottling about 110 cases of a nice red blend. It's mostly a Bordeaux blend. It's got Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon, a little Petit Verdot, and then just to mess things up, it's got a little bit of Sangiovese, which normally doesn't belong in a Bordeaux blend, but hey, we're in Texas. We can set our own standards.
Don Pullum, the white-bearded year-round Santa Claus. He'll let you know that he has his master's degree in marketing from Harvard. I shake him up and give him a little bit more white hair because of not following the damn rules that have been set up on the way that you're supposed to make wine.
You probably never had a wine like this, George. This is not like a commercial wine where they're making tens of thousands of cases. This is a wine that's handmade, and Alphonse does it the way they did it, 100 years ago.
Today, George is my rookie, and I might have him sing a school song.
I've got an idea for you. Once you work the corking station, because I've long thought you should put a cork in it.
Alphonse wanted to put Jim and George to work, and I'm happy to help out with that. We've got enough wine for about 110 cases, so unless we screw up, we should be fine.
Well, that's good. Several of the cases against my brother have been dropped.
Have they?
Which one of the guys have the worst jokes? I would probably say Jim. He needs to come hang around and let me give him some wild turkey or something to loosen him up.
Right now, I need to be pretty sober so that I get the cork on the right end of the bottle.
So I got George, Fat Boy, in there putting corks in the wines. Then they get labels, and then they finish them. They put them in a case. We take the full cases out, put them on a pallet.
Pin that bell, tote that barge. I'm working hard. I'm working up a sweat. And Jim's over there sipping wine and talking to some ladies.
I'm the older, smarter brother. He's going to tell you a different story, but don't believe him.
Jim's in there flirting with the ladies from Midland, Odessa. One of them said that they were virgins to wine tasting.
We're winery virgins.
Hey,
Cheers to that.
nowhere better to break them in but here at Wines of Dr. We help them to explore the different areas of their taste buds on their tongue and developing how to go about tasting. He did such a hell of a good job that each one of them bought a half a dozen bottles or more, which put a smile on my face.
At Alphonse's tasting room, nobody's in a hurry to do anything. You taste one wine, then you taste another wine, then you shoot the bull for about 30 minutes, and everything was going just great until George had his attention diverted for a moment and double corked a wine.
George double corked. That's a no-no, that's an improper thing to do. That's when you put a bottle in and you cork it and put a second cork in, so George had to go.
You don't really think you'll get fired from a job you're not getting paid for.
While we were all bottling wines, Martha spent the day cooking lunch for the people who had showed up to help. And these are people, some of whom don't even drink wine. They just showed up to help the bottling operation.
I'm a whiskey drinker per se. I don't care too much for grape juice, but I'm trying to develop a taste for it, being just grown in Boca.
We had a lot of family and friends come through and help bottle 109 cases of a new wine called Patience. And I'll be damned, I've had to be patient about getting this one out.
Texas has a unique climate, we have unique weather, and we've got different kinds of soils. Our soils here are quartzite sand. They're really good for growing wine grapes. They also create a big bouquet, and that's what we're after here. We want complexity, we want nice bouquets. We don't necessarily want big blockbuster California jammy fruity things. We want elegant wines, and that's what we're getting is elegant wines.
Hey, here we go,
After a long day of bottling, you finally have to take a break. So we actually went into town and went down to the river and took our shoes off and stuck our feet in the water. It was a good thing to have Sarah there in case I fell in or Fat Boy slipped, although I'm not sure there's anything Sarah could have done to save her dad. So the next morning we went to Alphonse's house and vineyard, and Martha was nice enough to make a traditional Mexican breakfast for us. She even made nopalitos, which is a dish made from chopped up cactus. She's a great cook, and we had a great time.
It was really exciting to see all the sports memorabilia that Alphonse had from his days in college football as well as his days in professional football.
Alphonse was looking for land, and he found this plot of land. It had just the right soil, and it was off a highway that had the same number as his jersey.
Retired at 35, and it just happened to be Acapulco. Wasn't looking for a lady to marry, but I'd be damned if I didn't find one. She knows when I need a double drink of wild turkey as opposed to wine. Let me put it to you that way.
We've been together for 34 years. Alphonse and I have roughly 20,000 plants, and each one of them have to be pruned by hand.
One thing that has helped us with the quality of wine that we've been able to produce is the soil. We have a red sandy loam soil that is a mixture of iron, red and yellow clay, and the aquifer that we get water from is called the Hickory Underground.
Alphonse and Martha have been pretty successful at avoiding hail, but this year they had a severe hailstorm in the vineyard, and it stripped all the leaves, it stripped all the fruit off, it bruised all of the canes. This is going to take some time to recover from.
We lost 95% of our crop in 7.5 minutes.
It takes a crazy man to grow grapes. They're very, very labor intensive, and I guess Alphonse fits that bill.
I got to think about my mom because she said, I used to worry about you becoming a gambler, and now you're about to become the biggest damn gambler of all, getting off into farming.
So after breakfast, we walked out in the vineyards to check things out. You almost never go into a vineyard without doing some pruning. You take advantage of any free labor you can get, including myself and Fat Boy.
And then so you got to look around where there's been hail damage and replace that.
They said they have a problem with hogs. I thought they were talking about you, but they meant the real hogs. The deer that come in here, they eat the real tender part of the plant.
The shoots.
Yeah, but you can get rid of the deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it costs you a little bit.
Yeah, like what?
It cost you a couple of bucks. Well, Alphonse, I have one question to ask you.
Right.
Which is tougher, tackling quarterbacks or tackling the work on the vineyard?
Oh, hell, that's an easy answer. Tackling quarterbacks and knocking them on the ass is much easier than this damn grapevine.
After we got through walking through the vineyards, then we went over to see Dean, who has a working ranch.
As we got there, Dean said, hey, you guys want to ride my horse? What could we say?
Don't even think.
Okay, it's not easy to ride on the back of a horse with your brother on the front.
I've traveled all over the world, gone to lots of places with presidents, covered lots of campaigns. I'm not sure I ever faced any more danger than riding that horse with George.
Alphonse grows the grapes, he picks the grapes, he makes the wine, he bottles the wine, and then we went with him as he delivered wine to a little wine shop.
Alphonse doesn't make that much wine, so getting some of Alphonse's wine is a precious thing. After packing wine for a day and then going to Alphonse's vineyard the next day, George may be starting to learn just a little bit. I mean, he taught school for a long time, but on wine, he's a little bit of a slow learner.
Alphonse and Martha, these people were sharp. They were sharp business people. Alphonse is a very intelligent, thoughtful philosopher. And when he was on the football field, he was one tough competitor.
We finally said goodbye to Alphonse and Martha because we've got places to go and other wineries to see. And in Texas, there's nothing for miles and miles, but miles and miles. Now we're going to a winery called Keepersol that is owned by two sisters, Marnell and Velmay, and is just outside Tyler, Texas, in East Texas.
Well, this is it, Keepersol. So the two sisters invited the two brothers out to their winery.
If they'd known you, they would have only invited me, but as it is, here we are, both of us.
We are a destination, a winery, distillery, restaurant, bed and breakfast, event center. If you want it, we can provide it.
I was very pleased because they put us in what is called the stables. This had been a barn to house the big Clydesdale horses. I once went to a barn dance and one of my friends went and his girl gave him the same old stall. The girl's sister, unfortunately, was kicked out of the barn dance. Apparently, she couldn't keep her calves together.
As it turns out, no matter how much wine George drinks, his jokes don't get any better. And no matter how much wine you drink, they don't get any better. Hey,
Come on in.
Good
Welcome
morning.
to Keepersol.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
George Angle.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Jim. Good to see you, Marnell.
Nice to meet you, Jim. Welcome.
I'm
Thank
the
you.
younger brother, and feel free when you look at my brother to divert your eyes because a lot of women do that.
Marnell gave us our two best tour guides, Michael, the winemaker, and Papa T, a retired policeman from Tyler who works for wine.
You may know my parole officer.
He might. He might. Let's see. So this is the tank room here, and here's Papa T.
How are you? Jim Angle. Good to meet you.
Hi, Papa T, George Angle. And this is the tank room. As Elvis would say, thank you. Thank you very much.
That's right. That's right.
This is where the magic happens. This is where the grapes and the juice come in and the fermentation starts. Keepersol has grown from 3 of these fermentation tanks to about 35, 36 now.
I understand you get paid in wine.
Marnell told me she feels guilty because I don't want money. And I said, Marnell, I would feel guilty taking money. So yes, I have a lot of wine at my house. The lab is right here. Let's wander in there.
This is where all of our quality control, quality assurance happens right here. A lot of wineries kind of outsource that, but here we're kind of on an island, so we've taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we can have as much influence on the wine from the grape to the glass. So you guys are here just to the right time. I got some work for you. We're going to go pull some samples and get the day started.
I think I hear my wife calling me, Michael. I may have to go home.
So this is a process called cold or tartrate stabilization. This is all about making sure that the wine visually looks good to you. It doesn't necessarily do anything to change the organoleptic or flavor profile of the wine, but it makes it more visually appealing, which gets you prompted to taste and enjoy the experience of what wine is.
My wife is all about making things look better. She just turns down the lights. She finds that's the best way to make me look better.
George's jokes are about as corny as it gets. I mean, they should be at the New York City Fair with all that kind of corn on those dogs.
They're still a little cloudy,
Still a little cloudy.
By the time...
When we get finished, everything will drop out of the tank and it'll be beautiful and clear.
I guess it's probably too early to taste it, you think?
Nonsense, never too early to taste.
Never too early to taste. In that case, that's a good summer sipping wine there.
Flavor develops in 3 main places. Primary flavors come from the vineyard and growing conditions or your terroir. Then the secondary flavors come from production, so your yeast strain, your fermentation dynamics and kinetics. And then the tertiary flavors come from barrel aging or élevage, where you pick up the woodiness or the spice elements of the wine. And all 3 are important in building layers of flavor. You want it to have a story even in every single glass.
So you guys made it to the barrel room. What do you think?
I love it.
We have about 828 barrels aging 3 vintages in here. The barrels add flavor to the wine. You read that label and it says, this wine boasts flavors of roasted coconut and cherries and chocolate and all these great things, right? And then you taste it and it's Cabernet Sauvignon. There's no sweetness to it. There's no sugar. And you think, did they add that to it? How'd that get in there? Well, that's added from the wood being toasted and charred at different levels and from the varietal characteristics. So dry wines can still taste and have flavors of all these great fruits and these really caramelized characteristics that come from the oak.
I think I lost one of these off my car.
But this is a wine thief, and it's how we sample the wine from the barrels. I'm gonna let you go ahead and hold on to that.
All right.
And we'll go pull some wine.
Okay, great.
What we have here is some 2016 barrels, and we have some 2016 Keepersol Malbec.
Am I holding it in the correct position here?
You got it, you're a pro.
Okay, all right. How far do I go down?
All the way in, put your thumb over the top.
Okay.
It almost looks like he knows what he's doing.
Okay, I've got it. Now bring it out.
Bring it on out.
Okay.
Keep your thumb over the top.
Okay, there we go.
Swirl it to make sure you can oxidize it and open up the nose, give it a nice sniff. You want to smell with an open mouth at the end of the glass. Nice short bursts to get as much of the aromatics back to your olfactory bulbs, and then slowly sip the wine. So you swirl, you sniff, and now it's time to sip. Very nice. Salute.
Hello.
Hey, hi there.
How are you?
How are you? Hey, Velma. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
The two sisters are just about the same difference in age as my brother and I. Of course, my brother and I were born in a different century.
This is who we call the boss right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I get to talk to people all the time, and she makes sure that everything at Keepersol runs smoothly.
Keepersol was founded by Marnell and Velmay's father, Pierre, who immigrated here from South Africa many, many years ago, worked in agriculture his entire life, but passed away in early 2016.
My father wrote a book a couple of years ago. It's called The Story of We, about his experience coming to America after my mother passed away.
February of 1984. It was my dad, my sister, myself, and 2 suitcases, and no return ticket, and no work visa. It's a great story of the American dream. This is our 17th vintage. And we just won the Saddle, top winery in Texas, at Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo.
Daddy entered it every year just to win the saddle. So this year our angel got his saddle.
Yeah.
George and I, we're still learning how to prune. And everywhere we go, they put us to work in the field.
So the key to pruning is setting your fruit for next year. If we were to leave all this like this, every single one of these buds would turn into another shoot like this. It's a quantity versus quality scenario.
You'd have fruit dragging on the ground,
You have
right?
way too much fruit for this trunk to sustain.
So you go 1, 2 buds from the base, right?
Base, yes, so right there.
Okay.
So base plus 1, 2, cut. It's really neat to see the evolution of a wine estate, of the grapes, of a winemaker and winemaking style.
We have a really awesome surprise for you guys. We have a 10-year vertical wine tasting on our Syrah from 2006 to 2013. Let's see if you guys are up for the challenge.
Cheers, guys. To Syrah and new friends in Texas. There you go. Amen, sister.
So Keepersol is unique because we're 100% estate grown. So everything that we grow, we put into our bottle. You can really just tell about the year that we had in our bottle.
I think I'll stick with it. 2009.
Is that the year you're stuck in?
Well, it kind of reminded me of the 9th grade. I liked it so much I stayed in it for 2 years. So I'm just going to stay with. I'm going to stay with the 2009. I'm not sure why they call it a vertical lineup, because after you taste 10 wines, you're pretty horizontal.
Well, the sisters had arranged something very special for dinner. We had a pizza cook-off.
You got 3 minutes to make the best pies of your life.
We served them to the judges, and lo and behold, Jim Angle's pizza got the most votes. You feel like family after you've been here for about 24 hours. And one of the nice things about visiting wineries, aside from drinking the wine, of course, is that no matter what time of year you go, it's beautiful. We finally said goodbye to Marnell and Velmay. You could actually spend most of your life going to Texas wineries. There's more than 300, and there are more opening all the time. And once you get to one that you like, it's kind of hard to leave. But there's 49 other states.
Texas wines are outstanding, but you know, there are other states in the union. I mean, I've been told that, I've visited some of them. Don't tell anybody in Texas.
So I'm just waiting for the day when I show up at George's house and I see him, instead of going to the fridge to get a beer, he walks back with a bottle of wine. That'll be the day.